Well, welcome to 180 U-Turn, the talk show that features some of the greatest conversion stories of our time. Stories of men and women who are on the highway to hell when they encountered a Damascus Road experience that completely turned their lives around. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savan, and today I'm broadcasting live from Alongside Ministries, one of the premier prison transition facilities for former felons. For more information on their prison ministry, their weekly meetings, and any of their special events, just hop out to their website at asmaz.com. That's asmaz.com. And hey, don't forget, if you want to write the show, my show email address is steve@180uturn.com. That's steve@180youturn.com. Thanks for the verse. My best verse that I got a couple weeks ago was Psalm 119, 160. The sum of your word is truth. It didn't say some of your word is truth.
That's right.
The sum of your word is truth. And I want to welcome back to 180 Anthony. Anthony, I'm so thankful that we're talking about your testimony today, because we're going to get into some stuff that are a little tough for guys, especially. Right. And I know there are people out there that have went through these things. My toughest guy in prison went through a hellacious experience that really messed him it took him a long time to pull out of a nosedive. It was brutal. And when we were teaching the 10 Commandments, I got to the part where it said, honor your father and mother, and he blew up. Just blew up right there. Until we almost had to get the officers to come and get him out. He was so angry. Yeah, I mean, that's when you think, wow, what happened back then? Well, listen, in your story, I'm always stunned at the age that things start, right? I'm thinking like Steve's blowing weed at my junior year in high school. Well, that I kind of get, right? I kind of get that. But, doing IV drugs when you're in junior high. I mean, this is what I'm trying to show you. The society is from the 60s, when I grew up, it's lawless already. We've untied all the moral moorings, everything's adrift.
Right. Now
we're into Anthony's generation, and we are doing IV drugs in junior high here in Arizona. I'm sorry, I'm blown away by that.
So for me, this is to put that in perspective. So it went from 6th grade to smoking cigarettes and smoking marijuana. Mm-hmm. So
in 6th grade.
6th grade. Yeah. So from 6th grade, I moved from Mesa. We moved to Glendale from 7th and 8th grade, and then of course, getting stoned. Then I started shooting dope. Mm-hmm. So the end of the 8th grade year, and then 9th grade, I was still in Glendale, and then I got in trouble, and then I wound up moving back to Mesa and got in trouble again. So then I moved to Phoenix. This is all in I went through 3 high schools in like 4 months.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I'm sure the audience is curious about this. Generally speaking, people don't go, hey, I'm doing weed and booze, and then all of a sudden I'm doing IV.
Right.
So what dope are you doing intravenously that you have to even...
Meth.
Okay, so most people, I'm just trying to do...
Absolutely.
I might have done a little robo-tripping. I could see that, right?
Right.
I could see the opiate. Maybe I took some Vicodin or something like, what's the other one? Vicodin and...
Percocet.
Percocet, yes.
Right.
That I get, kind of using legal drugs illicitly, right? But I can't understand shooting meth. I would think, well, why don't you smoke it, right? So there's no... in my view, there's no warning, there's no conscience say, hey, I might be getting into something here bad here.
So for me, this was my mentality and my perspective. So 6th grade, I started hanging out with the older crowds. So everywhere I went, I used to always say, I'm an older soul. Mm-hmm. So I used to gravitate to older people that were doing the wrong things. So, of course, the 7th, 8th grade, doing a line of cocaine here and there, but I'm hanging out with the older kids, the high school, the 18, 19-year-olds at a young age, and the opportunity was there, and I took it. And
how pervasive was it?
Wow, I mean...
everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
Easy to get.
At that time, no. I mean, because I didn't know how to get syringes, so it was something that I wasn't doing like on a daily basis until high school hit.
Now, we talked about this in our first episode with Anthony. All of a sudden, you're challenged with another sexual abuse encounter. But you're a little older this time.
Right.
So kind of walk me through, there's a difference here.
So the second time it happened when I was in 7th grade, and I truly believe that's why I jumped in face first in the drug scene. You know,
I get that.
And this time the way it happened, you know, I'm not gonna name, you know, people. That's not important. But basically, I was sleeping and I woke up to someone doing something to me.
Right.
And you know, it was just, it changed me. It really changed me because I was at that age where it was pre-puberty time. So as I started, my body started changing. You know, I thought there was something wrong with me. I'm like, wow, what's going on with me? Why is this happening to me? Why is God allowing this to happen? So there was a lot of confusion and there was a lot of anger, and I was an introvert, so I would just bottle up my emotions. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know what to do. So I found relief in doing drugs. I didn't have to feel, you know, I could get high and fit in wherever I was at and become a different person, and I didn't have to be who I am because I wanted to escape. Did
this abuse go on for a time, or just a one-off event?
No, it was over a summer, and that was it. But the damage was done. Because you don't hear too many, you know, 13, 14-year-olds that, you know, are shooting drugs and thinking that it's okay for me to follow in the footsteps of my aunt and uncle. My aunt and uncle died heroin addicts, HIV positive. They died very painfully. And I thought it was my birthright to follow in their footsteps. You know, my dad, you know, did heroin. My grandfather was an alcoholic, so I'm 3rd generation addict. So I felt this is who I am. You know, I'm entitled to go down the same road of destruction.
Yeah, and I just want to, and I usually say this for the 4th episode, but I just want to intercept anybody out there right now. You know, this is a complete lie from hell that I have to completely follow all my relatives, that my DNA is obligated to go down that road because everybody else did, and my fate in life has already been sealed. There's nothing much I can do about it. It's a fatalism that's wrong. And the part about knowing God is our ability to get the new heart and new mind and start completely from scratch.
That's right.
So I just want to encourage people who are say, hey, you know, I understand. That's why I'm doing drugs. Listen, I get why you're doing it. I get why you went through it. I totally understand it. And when I'm thinking about this going on, you know, when you move back to Mesa, and you've had this experience, and you're already doing dope, and it's pervasive, it's everywhere, it's got access to it. You began to went from user, right? You were a user to seller.
So that was when I went to the new school. So when we moved to Phoenix, I go to high school, and this school I went to for 4 years, Cortez High School. So I'm going to Cortez, and it's kind of the same scenario. I'm not really the popular guy, but I'm kind of the guy that's hanging out with, you know, if you were to stereotype or say a group here or there, I'm kind of hanging out with the jocks / stoners / skaters. So I'm kind of hanging out with everyone because the commonality was drugs. So then I'm like, okay, well, I can obviously make some money doing this because I know these people. And then, of course, you know, before and after school, getting high and doing drugs. So high school was exactly what it was for me, was to get high. And the sad thing was, I was like a straight A student if I applied myself, and I didn't see a future for myself. So I was comfortable doing what I was doing.
Okay, and did you know anybody older than you are who was doing, at this time, meth, and that you saw their life and it was loserville? I mean, you saw that it was like, hey, these guys are complete losers, you know? Or did you say, no, I didn't see it that way?
I didn't see it that way because what I was searching for was like kind of like a family father figure type. So in high school, I'm hanging around, you know, 30-year-olds and guys that have already been in prison and guys slung down and, you know, people that have motorcycles and all kinds of different crowds. So I gravitated to people that were doing the same thing I was, except they were doing it on a much bigger level than me. So that's why I felt comfortable.
And just to remind you that there's some of the interior questions, when you went through the drugs that you're trying to mask the pain of sexual abuse at two episodes in your life that really set the mark. And you start to question yourself, hey, am I gay? Am I attracting men? What's going on here?
So there definitely was an insecurity. I was like, okay, there's something going on with me that this is happening. Am I doing something wrong? Am I a bad person? Of course, when you're a kid, you don't look at things like that. You ask silly questions, but you also believe silly things. You don't have any logic behind it. So, I thought it was me. As far as I was concerned, it was my fault, and and that's not even true. That's the furthest thing from the truth. But it just destroyed my self-esteem and my logic, and I couldn't even talk about it because, number one, men don't talk about those things. That's the biggest lie the enemy wants to shoot at us, because there's no freedom in that. The enemy wants us to suppress those lies about being able to cry and about being able to talk to people about it. I just didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't have the support to do that. So my path wasn't for healing. My path was for destruction. I mean, even to the point that in 10th grade, I signed up for the ROTC because I was such an introvert and held in my anger so much that I wanted to be a sniper in the United States Marine Corps so I could go kill people, because that's what my mentality was, because I didn't know how to deal with my emotions except for doing drugs.
I just want to, again, just intercept anybody that's going through this thing right now. I mean, I don't want to wait till the end of the week when we do the show. If you're coming into this show right now and you're saying, I totally relate to everything Anthony's saying, and I'm in my own little web of deception, I just want to encourage you again, especially if you're local, go ahead and we can make things happen for you. If you call the show, email me, I'm happy to do it. If you're not, I'm still happy to get some kind of telephone or FaceTime or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Whatever it takes, whatever you need. We have too many people that have found the Lord and deliverance and freedom.
Absolutely.
And breaking chains of things that were prior in our life and having a new restored life. Now, one last thing before we leave this episode. You had some people in your life, I was just kind of like, wow, people were dying in your family, and they were important people.
So when I was 18, that was my senior year. That time frame was just the eye opener for me. So the reason why I say that, so my dad gets cancer. He was given 2 years. He lives 15. I'm 18 years old. Just after his 50th birthday, that's all he wanted to do was see 50. He dies, and then from there I lose my aunt, my uncle, my grandma, great-grandma, all within 2 years.
And these are people that are important to you.
Absolutely. I didn't have a strong relationship, but it was my family, and I loved them, and I lost them, so I didn't know how to grieve, because I'm constantly seeing people that I love, they were passing away, so I didn't know how to be able to handle death at all. So, let's get high. That's how we handle it. We don't deal with it. We suppress it. We live life that way.
Yeah, generally people think that women are the suppressors, the stuffers, the emotive stuffers. But I think after my tour of duty of 16 years in prison, I have to tell you, guys are major league stuffers. And if you don't think we talk about stuff like this, we never talk about stuff like this. And there's nobody I can't even talk to my cellmate. I can't talk to anybody about stuff like this. This is way past anything. It would chip away at whatever manhood I thought I needed to maintain. It would just never be able to work. Well, listen, we're going to talk about more of Anthony's story tomorrow. I wish it would get better, but it doesn't. As you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday show, we do all our Before the Lord testimony and part of the story. But listen, if you're saying you want to make contact, just go ahead and email me, steve@180uturn.com, and I'll make sure you get to Anthony or anybody you need. I don't want you to drift any farther than this.
Right.
This could be your intercept time where we get saved from 10, 20 years of addiction and all kinds of things that you're into. So listen, for more information on everything that Alongside Ministry does, their weekly meetings, their special events, their prison transition facilities here, and all the things they're doing for men and women, which is awesome, I have to say. Just hop out to their website at asmaz.com. That's asmaz.com, and you'll see a ton of things you can go to, especially if you're local here. You'll enjoy it. It's just great. So until next time, I'm Steve Savant. And remember, no one's outside the reach of God. No,
That's right.
not one.